ashamed. These are hardworking people. You're separating families. You should be ashamed. This is disgusting.
Our figures are record breaking, and we have seen how America has embraced all different communities from the entire world.
Harder to gauge, the impact of U.S. immigration policies, including new international travel restrictions and an ongoing crackdown on illegal immigration that has impacted even some non-citizens in the country legally.
There's a huge Latino population here in the United States that wants to be able to go to those types of matches. But with fear of ICE and other ramifications from a social, economic, and social political standpoint, that ended up being the overriding factor for many to stay away.
Overarching takeaway. So ICE is going to be doing, quote, security for some of these games. Why? I have no idea. And ICE told NBC Miami that non-American fans going to these games need to show proof of legal status. Just take that sentence. This is the United States of America. In Nashville earlier this season, the predominantly Hispanic supporters group called La Brigada de Oro they stopped coming to games because they were fearing ICE raids at games, which is just extremely sad to start before anything else that's super serious and heartbreaking that, hey, we're just not going to go to the game because I'm afraid I'm going to get deported.
And when you want to kick out someone, like this. That's true, right?
Imagine planning the trip of a lifetime to see the World Cup only to be turned away at the border or worse, detained by ICE. That's the reality facing millions of fans as the U.S.'s strict immigration policies threaten to derail the 2026 tournament. But while the U.S. risks losing billions, Canada and Mexico are stepping up, ready to welcome fans with open arms. Could this be the moment FIFA shifts more games north and south? We've seen the comments under our videos full of real fear about ICE visas and whether it's safe to come to the U.S. for the World Cup. For many fans, the fear of deportation is now tied directly to football. Across forums, social media, and fan groups, people are openly worried about attending matches in the U.S. One comment summed up the mood: "I'm not going unless they guarantee no ICE." This isn't just online chatter. Experts warn that these anxieties could keep millions from traveling, undermining the tournament's promise of global unity. The statistics are clear. In just the first half of this year, there have been over 350 ICE raids in cities like Los Angeles and Newark, both slated to host World Cup games. In Los Angeles, visa holders with no criminal record were detained during workplace sweeps. There have even been cases of U.S. citizens wrongly held. In Nashville, a Latin American supporters group skipped an MLS match after a spike in ICE activity, choosing to stay home rather than risk harassment. Meanwhile, in Philadelphia, fan watch parties were canceled after Customs and Border Protection tweeted about agents being suited and booted at Club World Cup games. The tweet was deleted, but the message stuck. Travel logistics add another layer of stress. Visa lines now exceed 300 days in markets like Colombia. Fans who buy tickets today might still be waiting for approval when the first match kicks off. On top of that, the US maintains travel bans affecting 21 countries, and while athletes get exemptions, regular fans do not. FIFA's rules say host nations must guarantee entry for all ticket holders. But the US may fail FIFA's requirement to guarantee access, as Human Rights Watch recently warned. The climate of enforcement is impossible to ignore. ICE raids target workplaces in host cities. Border Patrol brags about policing games. Visa applications get lost in endless backlogs. Fans see this and decide it's not worth the risk. LA officials have publicly admitted there's uncertainty around ICE raids as they prepare for the tournament. All of this raises a basic question: can the US deliver on FIFA's promise of safety and welcome for every fan? The gap between what FIFA says and what fans experience is only getting wider. The clash between Trump's 2025 immigration policies and FIFA's stated values is now front and center. Trump's 2025 travel ban blocks entry for nationals of 12 countries and restricts 7 more. That means entire fan bases, like Iranians hoping to see their team, are shut out before the tournament even starts. FIFA's 2017 human rights policy claims to guarantee safety, security, and inclusion for all attendees. But the reality is a host country making it impossible for many fans to attend. Customs and Border Protection stirred more anxiety when they tweeted they'd be suited and booted for Club World Cup security. FIFA complained, and CBP deleted the tweet, but the damage was done. Fans saw it as confirmation that immigration enforcement could be waiting at the gates. ICE later told attendees to carry proof of citizenship just in case. The idea of armed agents and document checks at matches is the opposite of the open, celebratory atmosphere FIFA promises. Host cities are worried. Los Angeles organizers admit they face uncertainty about possible ICE raids. In Philadelphia, The host committee's CEO said immigration and geopolitical issues could derail their plans. These are not just abstract concerns, these are the people tasked with making the tournament work. Sponsors are paying attention. Brands like Coca-Cola and Visa aren't pulling out, but they are running risk assessments to figure out if visa delays and travel bans will leave VIP sections empty. They pay billions for global exposure and packed stadiums, not for rows of empty seats and worried guests. Broadcasters want energy and full crowds. Instead, they're looking at the risk of bad optics and lower returns. Human Rights Watch and other groups have warned FIFA that these policies threaten both safety and the event's success. They've called on FIFA to use its influence and publicly urged the US government to guarantee entry for all fans. But so far there's little sign of action. The numbers show what's at stake. Over 60,000 fans from banned countries attended Russia 2018. Under current US rules, those same fans would be turned away. World Cups are supposed to unite the globe, not just fill seats with Americans and Canadians. Meanwhile, Mexico's visa process takes 3 days. Canada guarantees entry for all ticket holders. The US State Department has lost 30% of its consular staff since 2017, and visa applications pile up. FIFA's own inspectors flagged these risks, but the problems remain. While US host cities try to balance FIFA's demands with federal policies, the cracks are showing. Some stadiums may be ready, but that doesn't mean the stands will be full. And as the world looks on, other hosts are already moving to seize the opportunity. Canada sees the $3.8 billion opportunity and isn't hesitating. Toronto committed $120 million to permanent upgrades plus $43 million for a new canopy at BMO Field, expanding capacity and improving the fan experience. Vancouver's BC Place has a retractable roof, making sure games go on regardless of weather. These investments aren't just for show, they're designed to guarantee FIFA the full stadiums and smooth operations the organization expects. Canada's open door policy for ticket holders, regardless of nationality, is a direct answer to FIFA's requirements, and it stands in sharp contrast to the uncertainty facing fans headed to the US. The numbers back this up. In March alone, US tourism dropped 9.7% as visa wait times ballooned and travel bans remained in effect. Meanwhile, Canada expects up to $3.8 billion in economic output between June 2023 and August 2026 for just 13 World Cup matches, $2 billion of that in GDP growth. Vancouver is upgrading the Canada line to handle 500,000 extra passengers, and ticket holders will get free transit. Toronto is accelerating improvements at Union Station to manage the massive influx. Compare that to Miami, where there are still no plans for 24-hour transit service on game nights, and you see which host is ready. Canada and Mexico have already aligned their stadium, transit, and fan zone upgrades, while US host cities are still finalizing basic immigration measures. Hotel chains in Toronto and Vancouver are getting booking requests from European and South American tour groups looking to avoid US entry risks. Room rates in those cities could triple during match weeks if the US can't resolve its visa delays and travel bans, pushing even more games north. Canadian officials are open about their ambitions. "We stand ready to host additional matches if needed," said Minister Spencer Chandra Herbert. FIFA values that kind of reliability. While US consulates face 30% staffing shortages and long visa backlogs, Canada approved 92% of visitor applications last year and has streamlined visa processing to just 3 days for most applicants. The economic impact goes beyond stadiums. One match in Vancouver could create 3,400 jobs, and the 13 scheduled matches could generate $700 million in tax revenue. If FIFA moves more games north, the $3.8 billion projection could climb even higher. With Canada's readiness and reliability, FIFA has a clear alternative if US policies stay in place. Mexico City's Estadio Azteca stands out for its track record. No US stadium can say it's hosted 2 World Cup finals. That history isn't just trivia, it signals a venue and a country that know how to handle the world's biggest football events. According to Gold Cup data reported last year, Mexico's matches averaged 52,000 fans per game, while US venues averaged only 38,000. That's not a small difference. It's the difference between a packed, electric atmosphere and rows of empty seats. Visa bans and travel fears are already hurting US ticket sales. Mexico's stadiums, on the other hand, keep selling out. Internal FIFA memos show contingency venue plans if US issues persist. The contrast in preparation is obvious. While Miami still debates how to handle immigration enforcement near stadiums, Guadalajara's fan zones are already built and ready. Monterrey finished its infrastructure upgrades last year. Mexico City's Azteca has hosted more World Cup matches than any other stadium in North America. FIFA officials are looking at proven venues with strong attendance, and Mexico keeps checking every box. Travel logistics make the gap wider. For Latin American fans, getting to the US can mean 18 months waiting on a visa, or sometimes not getting one at all. Mexico offers visa-free entry or streamlined ETA for many eligible travelers. Mexican host cities guarantee visa processing within days, compared to the US 300-day backlogs. That means fans from key football markets can actually show up. During recent test events, US venues reported Latin American fan groups canceling plans because of entry concerns. In Mexico, those same groups are already booking blocks of seats. The difference is clear. Estadio Azteca is ready, with a legacy that includes Maradona's Hand of God and Pele's triumphs. US venues are stuck dealing with CBP checkpoints near entrances and staff shortages at visa offices. FIFA wants packed houses and smooth operations. Mexico delivers that. The US can't guarantee basic entry for ticket holders. Sponsors already book corporate boxes in Mexico City, while in US venues they're paused over entry uncertainties. Corporate sponsors like Coca-Cola and Adidas have invested billions in the World Cup, expecting stadiums packed with fans from every corner of the globe, but the US can't guarantee that turnout. Some consulates now report visa wait times up to 300 days, extending beyond 400 for certain posts, including key football markets like Brazil and Colombia. When sponsors can't get their international guests through the door, their entire investment is at risk. The U.S. Travel Association has already warned the White House that these delays could trigger a 9.4% drop in international arrivals this year. That's not just empty seats, it means fewer ad impressions, unused VIP lounges, and dead zones for merchandise during the tournament's most valuable moments. Host agreements penalize less than 85% stadium capacity, triggering financial clawbacks under Clause 14.3. With 21 countries facing U.S. travel restrictions and ICE raids near test event venues, hitting that number looks uncertain. Visa, for example, redirected $15 million in ad buys north to Canada after reviewing the risks. In Russia, their hospitality program drew guests from 78 countries. Under current U.S. rules, 31 of those nations now face bans or severe vetting. At a board meeting, Coca-Cola's head of sports marketing called the current U.S. environment untenable, pointing out that their activation plans depend on the fan diversity FIFA promises. Canada, by contrast, makes things simple for sponsors. Their visa approval rate reached 92% last year, with processing times averaging just 14 days. One global brand moved VIP events from New York to Toronto after key partners couldn't get U.S. visas. While Miami stadium operators debate how to handle immigration checkpoints, Vancouver firms are already setting up branded lounges, confident their international guests will arrive. Canadian stability means sponsors get the return they paid for. One sponsorship analyst put it plainly, it's like buying insurance against U.S. dysfunction. FIFA faces the risk of contract penalties if attendance drops due to travel bans. Internal assessments show potential sponsor clawbacks exceeding $400 million if empty seats trigger breach penalties. In Dallas, venue managers now warn local businesses about attendance contingencies, which is corporate speak for covering up empty sections. Meanwhile, in Mexico, corporate boxes at Azteca Stadium sell out quickly, and sponsors run full-scale tests with international guests. No one questions whether fans from Argentina or Egypt will make it. When Adidas reviewed fan engagement risk last quarter, U.S. venues scored worst among all hosts for access predictability. With 40% of FIFA's revenue coming from sponsors, if those brands shift their budgets to Canada and Mexico, the U.S. faces a major shortfall. The decision to prioritize border enforcement over welcoming fans has real consequences. Canada and Mexico are focused on football. FIFA now faces a choice: reward exclusion or protect the game's global spirit. FIFA's own memos confirm contingency venue plans in case U.S. immigration issues persist. Sponsors have already started shifting events to Canada and Mexico, where visas are approved in days, not years. Empty seats in U.S. stadiums could cost billions, while Mexico's Azteca and Canada's BMO Field are prepared to host. Should politics decide who gets to watch the World Cup? Subscribe for updates as FIFA's deadline approaches. With ticket sales looming and fans already shifting plans north and south, FIFA must decide now where the real game will be played.